How many of you can say that you've had a life-changing experience, something that acted as a turning point for you? Surely these events must be so momentous to you that you might even remember their exact date and time. You can't help but wonder, would I be the same person I am today if that didn't happen to me? Because we only have one life, and what we make of it is defined by our decisions and how we move forward. Hi, my name is Anunya Madhavaraman, and I'm on a mission to bring awareness to mental health and education. But when you're hit with news that's not only unexpected, but also incredibly heavy, what do you do? Back in the second week of September, I was hit with such news in an abrupt manner. I was hanging out with a close friend, and as we talked, I noticed a change in their demeanor. Fidgeting hands, lack of eye contact, and a petrified look on their face. When I asked them, "Hey, are you all right?" they proceeded to tell me that they had felt so overwhelmed and just done with life and school that they had made an attempt on their own life. And I was the only person that they had told so far because they were so terrified of people being mad at them. It devastated me to know that my friend had suffered in silence for so long, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I could say or do to get them back up on their feet. Clearly, encouragement to communicate with me daily had only went so far, and I wondered, what if this is more common than I thought? It made me realize that I cannot know what goes on in other people's lives. This led me to conduct my own research at my school to understand the perspectives of students from each grade and their ordeals. So I designed a survey to reveal their counseling experiences and support systems. I asked them, do you feel that you have people to talk to about your feelings and mental health? Have you considered seeing a counselor? Of the individuals I surveyed, only 12.5% of them said they had adults or people in their lives they could comfortably talk to. 37.5% of them said that they'd seen a counselor, but this leaves 50%, half of them, who said that they usually kept their issues to themselves. Of those who saw a counselor, only 33% of that group had truly benefited. So 75% of the people hadn't found the help they needed. This reflects the broader student population, regardless of academic background, social status, or school. And if you thought this must be an isolated population in small-town Augusta, then it's even more alarming when we look at national statistics. These, according to the NCES, during the 2021 to 22 school year, only 49% of schools offered mental health diagnostics, and a staggering 87% of schools admitted that they weren't confident in their own mental health resources. Why do you suppose that is? The underlying issue here is that we don't have proper support systems. It's common for teenagers to surround themselves with friends. We often connect with them the easiest. But relying on them constantly to unburden ourselves can strain that relationship. While close, trusting relationships are valuable, they can suffer when one person frequently imposes pressure and tension on the other. This imbalance can lead to feelings of stress, guilt, and ultimately a more one-sided and strained relationship. Furthermore, it's important to recognize our friends may not always be equipped or experienced to provide us with that necessary support. So if we can't always find that support our mental and emotional health yearns for in our friends, then where do we go from there? So I'm sure you've heard many people say, "Oh, just go to therapy, you'll be fine." However, the young adult perspective is ever evolving. Many young people who have attended therapy in the past and still attend therapy today have admitted to being forced into it. While therapy can be beneficial, it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. Many people fail to recognize the costs, which average from $100 to $200 per session, or its accessibility, because only 60% of Americans have reported their therapy as covered by insurance. Low-income communities, which often have higher rates of mental health issues, face even greater challenges with the additions of violence, substance abuse, poverty, and inadequate schooling. Taking our resources and the circumstances into account, we can't provide this counseling with a widespread effect. If therapy isn't just some magic wand and our friends aren't equipped to help us, then who do we really have? Look around. I believe that we're missing the elephants in the room. If you'd like another hint, think about what we just saw that little girl talk about. As crazy as it might sound coming from a teenager, I believe that the adults in our lives can be that solution. They can help by creating a safe and supportive environment where we feel comfortable sharing our thoughts and feelings. However, it's important to keep in mind that communication styles have changed over time. In the past, families were often larger and more closely connected. For example, my father had a huge family that he lived with back in India. He remembers how, when he was down, there was always at least one or two relatives that could ask him, "Hey, are you all right?" But today, it can be harder for us to form these connections because we simply aren't as tight-knit, and many families don't live near each other. As young adults, we're learning to be more independent, so we appreciate when adults respect our autonomy and listen to our perspectives. And since it starts in the home first, it is crucial that adults are able to recognize warning signs and stop behaviors that may spiral into a mental health crisis. But of course, you can never solve a problem without considering both sides of the equation. And we, as young adults, students, and children, must do our part. Acknowledging our struggles and accepting that our responses are not okay is the first step. We need to try and tackle our problems from the root source. Think of it as weeding a garden. You don't pull out a weed by the leaf. You pull it out by the root so that it can't grow again. Gathering up a little courage to talk to them about your feelings and mental state is all it takes to start a ripple in the pool of recovery. So I'm sure you're probably wondering, what's happened since that fateful day in September? My friend was able to reach out to an adult mentor of theirs and voice their struggles properly. Since then, I've watched them slowly but surely flourish academically and socially. Yes, they still do have those hard days, but they're accompanied by that newfound support system. They've personally told me that they now know by taking that action upon yourselves, things will be okay. And it's also okay not to be at your best all the time. Seeing them thrive and grow as a person continues to inspire me and countless others around them today. And progress is being made now. Recently, New Jersey invested $1 million into the frequent mental health screenings of schools in 2021. That same year, the Youth Mental Health Services Act was introduced into Congress. Here in Georgia, legislation has been passed that introduced mental health support and crisis counseling. This increases that school-to-psychologist ratio that we don't see as often today. Teenagers all around America are getting involved through programs like Youth Line and the Youth Mental Health Corps. But before I leave, I want to emphasize that if you ever find yourself considering harming yourself or others around you, if you feel like you still have nowhere to turn, please do not hesitate to reach out for help through mental health hotlines and support groups available in our community and nationwide. In the end, it's up to us to take charge and better ourselves through means of resourceful communication. The adults in our lives are there to inspire us and help us grow as we develop our own values along the way. And it is imperative that we, along with them, take that action for the betterment of our mental health and relations. Thank you.